Apparently believing the Republican Party is the equivalent of a crazy cult, fill-in host Harry Smith wondered about the future of the GOP on CBS's Face the Nation.
Ed Gillespie, some have called this pact, or the idea of this pact, because apparently the GOP will have a serious conversation about this over the next couple of months to decide whether or not to adopt it. Some have called it a suicide pact. Is it a good idea? Let me ask Ed Gillespie this question. Is moderate a dirty word now in the Republican Party?
Harry Smith works for CBS, and considering that the average age of the 60 Minutes host is about 85, maybe he shouldn't be referencing assisted suicide.
On the McLaughlin Group, Newsweeks Eleanor Clift professed a strong commitment to her faith.
It has not been warming since 98. Secondly, there's no known proof that it's because of man, and there's no known proof it's a great danger.
There's no known proof there's God either.
Hold on. Let me get this question in there.
It's not a danger even if it's happening.
All right, please relinquish, Pat. Stop baiting the lady. Now,
oh, come on, Eleanor. There's no proof that anyone still reads Newsweek, and yet here you are.
There is no God at Newsweek, but even if there was, he'd get way less cover stories than Barack Obama.
To demonstrate his faith in global warming, Al Gore is going to walk across a melting ice sheet.
I can see why those in the media would be skeptical about the existence of God. After all, it must be confusing to see your deity bowing to so many people.
Another one of Newsweek's brilliant minds, editor Evan Thomas, managed to both deride and fully support the Democrats' health care bill in a single sentence.
This bill is a fiscal fraud. I'd still vote for it because I think it's a good thing to extend benefits and to start down the road to universal and because of the health insurance. But we have to be, if we were honest about it, we say we have not dealt with the money piece of it, with the cost thing. That we're going to have to deal with. We're going to kick that down the road. We're going to have to deal with it later.
What's this guy's phone number? I've got some sham whales to clear out of the garage.
Evan, you know that definition of insanity where you're doing the same thing over and over again expecting a different result?
It's a fraud, but he'd vote for it? Do they have, like, drinks before they start doing the show?
There's no need for repetition in your case, Mr. Thomas.
I mean, what next? He's going to start saying, hey, Nina Totenberg, you look pretty good from over here.
It makes no fiscal sense, but let's do it anyway. See, now this is the kind of brilliant business sense that makes Newsweek read by possibly dozens of people each week.
MSNBC's Chris Matthews actually doubted someone else's sanity as he discussed Sarah Palin's desire to be a writer.
She couldn't say what she read when she was asked a simple question by Katie Couric, and then she says she's got a book and it's been put out that she had a ghostwriter for her, and now she's saying, I don't know whether I should go back to my main career of writing. I just think the whole thing is absolutely daffy, but she proceeds on here and she'll have a bestseller without having written anything. It's amazing.
Daffy? Delusional? Is Chris Matthews talking about Sarah Palin's writing career or his own ambitions for a Senate run in Pennsylvania?
NBC's Chuck Todd sounded like a worried mother in a recent interview with President Obama.
I've had a couple people ask me this at NBC. Are you losing weight? Do you feel the stress? Where is this coming from?
Yeah,
or at the 1 year point, do you feel like, oh my God, I look in the mirror, boy, they're right, this job does age you.
Why is he worried about the stress on Obama? We're the ones going to spend the rest of our lives paying for all of this.
On ABC's Good Morning America, co-host Diane Sawyer described the incredible challenges President Obama faces, like not bowing to every world leader he meets.
Before we leave the topic of the president's trip overseas, I've often thought the hardest subject for every president, what do you do with royalty? We're not trained to greet royalty since 1776. The president, as we saw with the Emperor of Japan, went the full way. Lots of comment about that. It's just too confusing when you're American.
That it is. We've got 2 wars and a big recession, and the really hard thing to try to figure out is whether to give the Queen an iPod or not.
Do you bow before the emperor? Do you give the Queen a hug? Do you high-five the Pope? It's all just too confusing if you're Barack Obama.
So now standing up straight is a challenge for the President of the United States.
Although I don't remember George W. Bush screwing it up.
MSNBC host Dr. Nancy Snyderman did her best to keep her personal feelings in check while discussing limits on abortion funding in the healthcare legislation.
This is going to be a Pollyanna-ish statement. The Catholic bishops appearing and having a political voice seems to be a most fundamental violation of church and state.
That's the first thing that I said. I don't know where the Internal Revenue Service is, but I hope they're paying attention.
Me too. And I want to just sort of say goodbye to you by pointing out that Stupak and Henry Hyde, the two amendments that restrict a woman's right to choose, are both white men telling women about reproduction.
Like black men are lining up for that job.
Dr. Nancy finds it infuriating that a white man is deciding a woman's responsibility in her own procreation.
Nancy, MSNBC's hosts are Keith Olbermann, Chris Matthews, David Schuster, Joe Scarborough. Your network couldn't be any whiter if it was the cast of Friends.
Here's a deal for Dr. Nancy. White men won't make rules about abortion, but socialists won't make rules about the free market.
I find it infuriating that a doctor doesn't realize that it takes two to procreate.
As we all know, modern feminism does not see a role for white men in procreation.
Nancy Snyderman was so outraged at the white men that she decided to perform abortions during the commercial break.
Yeah.
On the McLaughlin Group, Newsweeks edit.
All right, this is a little prove it. All right. Okay.
And switch.
Oh. Is this mic all right?
David Schuster, you're...
Somehow, I find that strangely arousing.